All right, we are live. We are live. Welcome back to another session of the iGaming Next weekly news. I am by myself here at the moment, but we will have Mr. Nico Jansson here, a good friend, joining us in a little bit. Good to see you guys here. And as a starting point, thank you to the partners as well for joining this session today. Plays on Simpler with this kind of bombastic intro music and intro videos. It's really great to have you guys here. Today we have a lot of really interesting topics ahead of us. And what we're going to talk about is essentially we're going to do a summary of iGaming Next SBC. We're going to do a summary of iGaming Next Valletta. We're going to do a summary of iGaming Next Valletta, a summary of SBC Barcelona. We're going to talk about G2E that we have in front of us here next week. So a little bit of wrap up of the events that were here, two really strong events. I'm not being biased at all here when I say this as one of the organizers of iGaming. Oh, here we go. Nico, good to have you in the stream. How are you doing today?
Let's see, Nico. We cannot. Some connection.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
Good. It seems like for whatever reason, I once again have connection issues. Yeah, and
as is tradition.
For whatever reason, yes. So we did the prep call. Everything was working fine. Nothing to worry about. As soon as the video just kicked in, it was like boom. I was like, no. But all good, right? All good.
So I was telling the audience here, of course, that we're going to start today by kind of summarizing iGaming Next Valletta, summarizing SBC Barcelona. We had a pleasure, of course, of hosting you, Nico, at iGaming Next Valletta here the other week. I personally was not at SBC Barcelona, but I'm very, very curious to hear your feedback on both of these events. And obviously next week we have G2E in front of us, the massive North American event for online gambling and for land-based gambling that is taking place next week here. But outside of the events, there's a lot to talk about today. American Gambling Association have done a survey with the CEOs within the association, asking them about their outlook for the future of the industry, and now as we move into more uncertain economic times. And the result of that is quite surprising. That's my cliffhanger here today. So stay tuned in order to find out more about that. California, we're going to give an update on Prop 26, Prop 27, aka these two competing ballot measures, which are looking to legalize retail sports betting in the state of California. That's Prop 26. And legalizing online sports betting in the state of California. That's Prop 27. This has become a battleground between the Native American tribes and the online sports betting operators in the United States, with the most expensive political campaign ever in the state of California by far. It's not looking that great, let's say that, for either of Prop 26, Prop 27, despite these massive marketing campaigns. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on as well. In other news as well, we're going to resurface a topic we talked about a couple of months ago, which was about this former MGA employee, Iosif Galea, who was ousted from MGA for committing fraud against MGA. He was then arrested in Italy by the German state authorities and has now received a 2.5-year prison sentence. And this is potentially the first of other cases to come potentially by the German state authorities. And certainly it sends a pretty strong message to the industry. If you don't pay your taxes in Germany, as they claim, they will go after you. And so we will talk more about that. And finally as well, stake.com. It's no stranger to controversy. And the latest controversy here is the UK newspaper, The Observer, managed to create, first of all, circumvent the restrictions in order to bet on stake.com with cryptocurrency, and they were able to circumvent the age verification when they signed up an account at stake.com by publishing a photo of a Strepsils throat sweetener picture, basically. And this was instantly approved. The observers were able to bet on stake.com for crypto deposit and withdraw as well. So this is the latest and greatest. But let's take this step by step here, Nico. First of all, you visited SBC Barcelona. Shall we zoom in on this first of all here, Nico? A couple of weeks ago. This is the second edition of SBC's Barcelona. I was there last year. It was a pretty small show, but this year SBC took leaps and bounds with this show and made it into a really huge show. How was the show for you, Nico? How was Barcelona?
So first of all, Barcelona is always a nice city. So weather was good, quite like in Malta. But to be honest, the show was so huge. They doubled the size from last year, and they will double the size next year as well. So it will be even bigger. Bigger. Interesting panels, interesting insights, especially Shay Sagav giving us a little bit of an insight in the end, whatever he wanted to talk about, because he couldn't talk a lot about the insights, but he kind of gave us a blink of an eye on what's coming next. So whenever the both of us, Pierre, felt a little bit not enlightened that much when we've been talking to Ian Turnbull, he is not allowed to speak a lot about these things, right? So whenever he literally gave us an insight, he put his throat on the risk. So it was interesting to see just what Shay was about or talking about. We had a pretty interesting panel also with Jörg Hoffmann as well about the German and Austrian market and what are the do's and don'ts, what's the upcoming. And once
Sorry
again,
to interrupt here, Nico. The discussion with Shay Segev, I think he kind of downplayed the importance of the sports betting solution and the online gambling adventure that DAZN is pursuing. Right? He was saying that actually we don't expect to become a huge operator. We don't expect that sports betting revenue, online gambling revenue, will make up a huge part of the revenue mix for DAZN, right? That was kind of the takeaway from that session, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're totally right. He played it down very, very well. He was like, okay, of course we are eyeing on the sports betting vertical and probably further verticals in the gaming space as well. And he was like, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we're first of all, they are in the billions of revenues, right? And they are not expecting the gaming vertical to at least make the same amount of revenues or being the cause for the same amount of revenues. But if you just take into account what kind of dream team Shay actually onboarded from his former he used to be the CEO of Entain as well. I don't buy it. Like, okay, yeah, of course we kind of are in the gaming sector as well. I'm pretty sure pressure is pretty high.
It's kind of like look elsewhere. Don't look at us. Essentially,
exactly.
Don't mind us.
Yeah, we just do the gaming sector as a hobby, right? Just to keep we are in the gaming industry by heart, and that's why we don't want to lose touch. Sorry, Shay, I don't buy it. It was interesting just to see, and he's a pretty cool guy as well. So I was approaching after his panel, try to get some more information out of him. I failed badly, so didn't work out that much, but still got something. So I also told him, okay, Shay, I don't think that you do just the gaming sector as a hobby. You have way too many people already onboarded who are gaming guys by heart, and I'm pretty sure they just want to succeed in the gaming sector. And he just gave me an eye. So.
Okay. Well, it's good that you do the hard work here, Nico. Don't let them get away with these statements. I like it.
Yeah, just doing my best. As an embedded correspondent.
Very good, Nico. What else did you learn during SBC Barcelona?
Yeah, as stated, the Austrian and the outlook for Germany as well, which was pretty much things are already new. Then there was an interesting insight of the metaverse from one of the metaverse go-to guys, and he literally stated like, okay, although it seems to be just trendy as of now, the roots and the effects of the metaverse will come true within the next 2 or 3 years. So better prepare yourself. So this was also an interesting insight as well. He unfortunately the guy couldn't be there live and in person, so it was a live stream. But it was good stuff. Was good stuff. And then of course the closing party with being once again in a huge museum. Yeah, just it was just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, only heard good things about SBC Barcelona as well. So kudos to SBC for kind of pulling off this new parade show in the calendar of the year, and also to follow up with this, I think that being in the center of the conference organizing landscape, the reoccurring feedback this year has been from the delegates is that there are just too many shows right now, and there are too many kind of new shows that are trying to establish themselves, and the kind of the calendar has to settle a little bit, and obviously we think a lot about this at iGaming Next, and what shows will be successful and what shows will kind of has lived past its purpose to some extent. And I think now it's becoming a little bit more clear in how the calendar of 2023 will look like. At least if we look at the European and the American calendar. So I think next year what we'll see is, like, in Europe there will be a couple of these kind of staple events that will continue to do well. And obviously ICE, it goes without saying, is the juggernaut of the conferences of the industry. Very difficult to disrupt that conference. I think they will be back with a vengeance next year. So imagine, this year the show had to be postponed. It was placed during Easter. There was a lot of controversy around this, a lot of exhibitors pulling out. But at the end of the day, people still showed up. And next year, everyone will go to ICE. This is a legacy conference, and it's just very difficult to disrupt this conference. And so obviously ICE is a staple, and it will continue to be a staple. Then you have the Sigma as well, which is gathering the industry predominantly with an affiliation and operator touch, so to say. But what Sigma also does well is that they are able to pull in a bit of a different crowd as well from the wider tech world, and also you have exhibitors at Sigma who usually wouldn't exhibit at iGaming conferences, and so you get kind of like a bit of a different crowd at Sigma. That's kind of why they have been able to establish themselves as well. They'll continue to do well next year. Amsterdam, the primary affiliation conference, staple in summer. They're actually moving their conference next year, so it will be kind of later on in July. It's kind of mid-July dates for next year. And then we think as well with iGaming Next Valletta will be kind of the educational networking, get to know and meet each other over a more kind of relaxed setting where you don't really have like your meeting scheduled back to back for the entire day. And it's this kind of typical thing with ICE, which is it's good because you're very busy at ICE and you get a lot of stuff done. But the typical conversation on the exhibition floor is like I meet you, Nico. Oh, hey, Nico, how's it going? Good to see you. Actually, I have a meeting now. I have to run, but let's speak later. Okay, that's the typical conversation that you have.
Actually, you had a
ICE.
meeting.
Yes.
Actually, you had a meeting. I was interrupting you within the meeting. Just took a picture, a selfie of the both of us, uploaded it to the group. So all good. But as you stated, that's
the typical
regular
conversation at ICE. You know what I mean? Like, this is typically how it goes at ICE, where you just run from meeting to meeting, and you don't really have that much time to interact and just kind of take a breath and have a nice conversation or to become closer friends during the show, kind of thing. And I think the purpose with iGaming Next, what we try to do is a bit more kind of relaxed setting, where like you don't really show up to the conference with 50 pre-booked meetings, but it's more like let's have some meetings. Let's meet some people I haven't met before. Let's check out some of the content and have a good time at the networking thing. Valletta is beautiful, and so on and so forth. And so I think that's kind of the position we want to be in with iGaming Valletta, and I think that's worked really well this year actually. And so jumping over to Valletta, Nico, what was your like primary? What did you learn? What stood out to you during the Valletta conference?
So in the end, as soon as it comes to gaming content, like, okay, how do regulatory framework look in XYZ? If on a C level you need to attend a conference to be aware of these things, you're into C level at all, to be honest. So the good thing about the iGaming Next Valletta is, just taking a look at what's outside the box, thinking outside of the box, especially, as soon as it came to the presentation skills. It's not a game that was awesome. What has been presented there, then when Tim, Robin, and Tim and Todd spoke about
Yes.
the outlook of the industry. It's just great. These three guys, these legends, literally, being free to speak and just, let their mind cooperate with each other. That was awesome as well. The Hot Six was nice once again. So it was even more catchy than during the iGaming next to New York. So kudos once again that you just did not reproduce what's already good. So you just made it better as well. And the overall setup. So that was nice, and just being part of this conference. Once again, thank you for having me, and thanks for providing all these insights, and especially the content, which by first view did not actually make a lot of sense, or where we're like, okay, why should I take part of someone giving me some insights about presentation skills? But as soon as you are like, okay, maybe I should just give it a shot, give it a try, you're like, oh, there was so much I could actually take away from this one, and that was just nice and awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for this.
It's a funny session with Alexander Grabner Jarlung. He is the speaking coach that coaches all the presenters at iGaming Next that we've been working with since 2019. And as part of our agreement with Alex, we also agree that he will every year do a 15-minute presentation on stage, essentially. And his presentations are, I always like, they are very uncomfortable, but afterwards they are very rewarding. And so this year I walked into the main hall, and Alexander Grabner, he had just started presenting, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so uncomfortable. But I forced myself to take a seat, because what he does is he always forces the audience to engage with each other. So he will tell you like, okay, everyone stand up, look at the person behind you and introduce yourself to this person and tell them what you do. And then he will say, okay, everyone is presenting themselves wrong. What you need to do is, rather than telling them what you do, you need to tell them why you do it. And then he says, okay, now stand up again and shake the person's hands behind you and tell them why you do it. And it's just very uncomfortable to speak with strangers like that. But afterwards you get this a bit endorphin kick, and everyone is happy, and you kind of meet a new friend there. So it's a funny session that gets people kind of talking to each other a bit more. But you mentioned something interesting, Nico, about the predictions panel between Todd, Robin, and Tim, and there was something really funny that happened after this panel that I can tell you, which is Robin Reed, the CEO and founder of Happy Hour. He predicted that Light and Wonder might be acquired by Evolution. He just kind of made a statement as like, that would make a lot of sense for Evo for various reasons. And our editor, Jake Evans, he was not he was not slow to kind of report on this statement. And so he wrote this article here I'm going to show on the screen, which was basically titled "Could Evolution Make a Move for Light and Wonder? Robin Reed certainly thinks so." So this story was published just after the talk, and the result of this on the stock market was that Light and Wonder moved a stock price moved up 6%. Or if you want to translate that into their market cap, they increased their market cap by about $250 million based on this statement. and we were joking about it in the dinner in the evening that Robin Reed is now officially the Elon Musk of the iGaming industry. Because when Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin or some other whatever else it is, the market moves with his statements. And so similarly, Robin Reed has now axed that mantle, and he moved the share price of $250 million for Light and Wonder. I thought that was totally hilarious. And who knows? Who knows if it's gonna happen? It's a fun speculation. It's interesting to make put predictions on the table. Whether they happen or not, this is interesting to rather than saying, maybe evolution will make some M&A activity, or maybe they won't. It's like it's a non-statement. It's much more fun when people are specific, even if it's a low chance of probability. But it's just so much fun to hear these predictions overall. So I just thought that was very funny. What else did you take with you from Valletta, Nico?
Another thing that, each and everybody is eyeing on the live casinos, the live blackjacks, the live roulettes, and whatever is happening live. And especially as soon as it comes to live, expect the unexpected. We had this kind of fish jumping on the table. So this is something you can't code. So either for whatever reason, and I still don't know why you just put an aquarium close to the to any so kind funny. Of table. I don't know, but as soon as he presented, I was like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense, because each and everybody is sitting on the table now, placing a wager. They all got a free bonus spins, etc. So they all got rewarded. But they will just, tell each and everybody about the situation which actually happened. So this thing kind of went viral. So the overall outcome of this one was unexpectedly good. And this was awesome as well. Just to get some of these insights. But as said, it's always up to yourself. If you just want to attend a conference like this and expect someone to take care of, then you will always think a conference wasn't worth the money. But if you actually participate at the conference, being active, talk to people, attend the speeches, get familiar with the speakers as well, then you have been able to take away lots and lots and lots of stuff during that conference.
Absolutely, and I can tell you from like organizational point of view as well, Nico. Like we were joking in the team that we were so lucky with the weather. Like it was supposed to rain in Malta like Monday to Friday, and leading up to the conference, we were like, God damn it, it's been great weather the whole summer, and then like of course it's gonna rain when we put on the show and all the things, and then we came to Monday. It was good weather. It was a golf tournament, and we were like, okay, great. At least the golf tournament didn't have to be cancelled. And then the next day we had the paddle tournament, and it turned out to be great weather. And then Wednesday and Thursday conference days, when we had networking up at rooftop, it turned out to be great weather. And then on Friday, the day after the conference, it started raining, and we were joking, like, who in the team have sold their soul to the devil? Who? Tell us who it is, because we got so lucky with all of these things. It's one of those things in the background that you always panic about. There's so many things, like we don't know if people are gonna turn up. There was the SBC Barcelona the week before. Like, are people actually gonna turn up to the conference, or gonna stay at home? A lot of people get sick these days after conferences. Will they have a lot of no shows, and a lot of these worries that you have as an as an organizer. It's difficult to really relax before you see that the event actually transpires the way you want it to. You never know. I mean, could be an accident. There could be a bomb threat. There could be anything, that shows up at the conference. So I can tell you, when day 2, when we started to kind of wind down and the event started to wind down, the whole team, we gathered and kind of took a photo of each other on stage and had a nice moment together. And for us, it was fantastic. We didn't care that it was raining on the Friday. We gathered anyway. We had a good time, and now we can have a little bit sleep, and then it's on to the next one, basically.
On to the next one. And sunshine is always with the angels. So no worries, no worries with the weather.
Fair enough. Well, that's why we live in Malta, I suppose. As a final note as well, I thought another just interesting takeaway from iGaming Valletta was the CEO. We ran a session called CEO Roulette, and I think, like, in general, the way we try to do the content on the main stage of it should be a little bit entertaining. So we came up with this concept of CEO Roulette, which basically forced CEOs to stand on one side or the other of certain, let's say, a little bit provocative questions. And so one of the questions they were asking the question whether Kindred's journey to zero is a realistic target. Is it a realistic goal? So Kindred's journey to zero essentially is that Kindred have committed themselves to eliminate revenue from harmful gambling by the end of 2023. And so far, the efforts have been pretty stale. They obviously disclose the efforts on a quarter-to-quarter basis. You can see them here. You can see here in the top line that basically share of gross winning revenue from high-risk players. In Q3 2021, it was 3.3%. Then in Q4, it went up to 4.0%. Q1 22 down to 3.3% again. And Q2 was still stable at 3.3%. And so far, the 3.3% mark, they have not been able to move from that target, basically. Now, Jesper Svensson, the CEO of Betsson Group, which you could say is the closest competitor to Kindred, both Scandinavian born, targeting similar markets, so on and so forth. He was very aggressive coming out against this initiative because at first in the panel the sentiment was like, it's a very ambitious target, and it's good to be ambitious. But Jesper said no, it's not good to be ambitious if the target is unrealistic. He said by definition you cannot reach this target, and he also continued to say that maybe you don't want to reach the target either. Like, if we look at it from a player protection point of view, the players who are at risk for harmful play, if they get banned from Kindred, they might be pushed out into the black market instead. And so he said the right way to go about harmful play is to keep the players within a regulated and safe environment and to limit them rather than to kind of shut them out from the regulated environment. And I thought that was a quite interesting point, and it was a quite brave point to bring up because it's a very difficult subject and very difficult topic to talk about in the industry. You really have to walk on eggshells when we talk about at-risk players, and obviously it's in the interest of the industry to take care of the players and not to expose them to harmful play. But at the same time, we have to also be honest with these type of initiatives and what is the best course of action for the player. Is it to shut them out from the regulated environment, or is it to allow the player to play, but under more controlled kind of circumstances? And I thought that was a very interesting point by Jesper Svensson, and again a very brave point for him to bring up. So yeah, interesting stuff there. We're not going to talk about these conferences the entire session today. We still have half an hour to go here, Nico. And shall we do like this, Nico? We talked about this a lot now. We were planning to do kind of the 10 stories in 5 minutes here, but I think we have quite a lot of stories to go through today, Nico. So I think maybe we should just jump straight into our first story here. What do you think?
Sure. You're in
We
charge.
do. All right, very good, very good. It was more a hint than a question. Okay. So the first story, Nico, is the American Gaming Association. They have run a survey with the member CEOs within the American Gaming Association, asking them about the outlook of the industry for the next for the immediate future. You know, we are moving towards very uncertain climate. There's a very negative sentiment on a macro level that the economy is declining. There's a negative sentiment that next year is going to be a very tough year. We are seeing interest rates that are shooting through the roof, so on and so forth. However, the result of this survey was quite optimistic, actually. Can you talk more about this, Nico, the survey?
Yeah. So first of all, they have been asked. Wait. However, the association says that following a period of exceptionally strong growth, economic activity in the industry could ease moderately over the next 6 months. So, despite high and crazy inflation rates, the sea levels still see the overall outlook, and the gaming industry outlook was presented in a partnership with Fitch Ratings. So it's empirical study. It's not something which has not been well thought. And the overall the overall rating was 68%. Said its business situation is good. 28% said it's satisfactory. And now, because there had been multiple answers possible, 92% stated that these conditions continue to improve over the next 3 to 6 months. So they even see a brighter future of the actuals. If we now put this overall outcome into perspective, first of all, we're speaking about the US, the United States of America. Indiana is on the merge to establish iGaming as well. As of now, it's just sports betting, and they are making decent numbers in sports betting in Indiana as well. So, with iGaming being possible in Indiana, of course, they see a bright future, as there will be more and more and more and more markets in the US actually being opening up. So that's the underlying of their positive mindset as well. What has your takeaway of this article been?
Yeah, I have a little bit different conclusion here, let's say, which is if you're the CEO of a major organization, or any organization for that matter, it is kind of your job to think that the future is going to be better than the past. And so if your outlook for the future is like, no, I think everything is going to go to shit, like, you're probably not suited to be the CEO of the company. And so I don't know. I think maybe it's a little bit biased, the polling of the CEOs. Like I said, that it is part of your job to assume that the job that you are doing is going to have a positive impact on the future. And so I don't know if I take too much from this poll, to be honest, but I like the positive sentiment. I would be interested to know, actually, I haven't looked into this deeper myself, but I would be interesting to know if they have conducted this specific survey in the past, and it would be interesting to compare like for like what the sentiment was, say 6 months ago compared to now. The times are changing, of course, and if we look at the stock market, that's where you generally see what the sentiment actually is when you actually put money on the table on your opinion. We can bring up here the bets roundhill the rounded sports betting and iGaming ETF. So an ETF is essentially a collection of shares. So in this case, it's the iGaming industry. So you could kind of say that what you're looking at here is a tracker for how the online sports betting and online gambling industry is performing on the stock market in its entirety. Say, over the last year, we've seen. Let's see, how much have it decreased here? Hold on one second, and I'm gonna look at this here very quick. So over the last year, we see a decrease of 55% on the stock market, and over the last couple of months, the trend has continued to be fairly negative. And if we read into this sentiment, it doesn't look that positive. But I would though say, if we take land-based specifically in the US, which obviously is which the organizations are represented from in the American Gaming Association, land-based are performing very well. So the numbers that are coming out of Las Vegas and the other states that permits land-based casino gambling is very positive, right? There is all-time highs or near all-time highs almost every single month in comparables in Las Vegas, and so the city of Las Vegas is doing really, really well. But one cannot wonder that the purpose of the increases of the interest rates is for these type of activities to slow down specifically. It is like when Las Vegas is breaking all-time high records, it is pretty much the opposite of what the Feds are looking to achieve, which is to slow down the economy in order to slow down the inflation, right? And so you would think that like next year, when the inflation rates actually start biting and the measures actually start hurting people's livelihoods and their disposable incomes, and we possibly are in a recession, you would think that would have a pretty significant impact on the revenues that are generated in Las Vegas. And looking back at 2008, the financial crisis, Las Vegas was, all but in ruins at that time. Many products that were stalled, and I remember being in Vegas in 2009 and paying like $10 a night for a hotel room on the strip. I didn't have that much money at that time, by the way. So that's what I could afford. But nonetheless, the same hotel room today, would be like $150 or something like this, $180, $200. And so you would expect that this is not normal in the environment that we are in now, where the Feds are trying to slow down the economy. So I don't know if I share the positive sentiment, if I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, totally understand your point. But, first of all, if you just read between the lines and how they actually act, right? Compare it to Meta, owner of Facebook. As of now, and this is the first time in the company history, they need to cut costs. They stopped hiring people, which has never happened in that company. If I'm not mistaken, there are no cutting costs programs, despite not spending so much money on bonuses. New York is saying hello with the $3,000 sign up and deposit bonus. Of course, they need to cut that insane cost, but you don't see this in the gaming industry. We are still looking to hire even more people. There's an ongoing discussion whether to outsource or to insource the IT as well. So of course, got your point with, as a CEO, as a C-level, you need to be positive, because if you're like, okay, I'm the first one leaving the ship and we're already close to Titanic, different approach, got that one. But as the underlying numbers, how run their company, follow the positive outlook as well.
Yeah, fair enough. And just to bring up here on the screen as well, you mentioned Meta. Over the last year, Meta has not performed that well on the markets. Meta is down 60% on the markets here due to kind of a slower growth, and due to Apple's privacy updates and stuff like that, which have slowed the growth in revenue for Meta. And Meta is also, it is totally unrelated to iGaming, but still, Meta is in between a rock and a hard place, because they sit with so much cash on hand, but they are not able to make any major acquisitions because of antitrust laws in the United States. And the Republicans and the Democrats hate each other over in the state. They cannot agree on anything, but the only thing that they can agree on is that Meta is evil in their eyes. And so Meta is in a really difficult spot where they can't really acquire themselves out of this issue that they have. And at the same time, less and less people use Facebook, TikTok becoming more popular, future social medias, and Meta is in a difficult place. But this is totally unrelated, albeit very interesting. We are in the tech industry after all, so we should follow these things. Nico, let's move on to the next story. We have 17 minutes to go. California, what's happening?
Yeah. So first of all, it's still that, Proposition 26, 27, which is about to being decided in November. We have a new poll from the University of Berkeley, the Institution of Governmental Studies, and they have asked roughly 7,000 California voters, and they decided, first of all, not in the favor of Prop 27. They were like, okay, Proposition 27, we all know, which would allow online sports betting wagering, it is 27% would likely to vote or support this proposition, and 53 opposed it, so they would not support it. Proposition 26 earned only 31% as supporters, which is 4% points higher than for Proposition 27. But only 42% would dislike or oppose to that Prop 26. And this kind of gives us an outlook. And I also had a talk with Bill Pescarell III during iGaming Next as well. So each and everybody, as of now, doesn't see Prop 27 becoming reality. Fact is, no one. So before President Trump actually becoming President Trump, nobody saw him winning as well. So sometimes life has its miracles, and still fingers crossed for Prop 27 to go through. As of now, roughly $500 million have been spent on advertisements. As of now, if you're in California, at least every second TV advertisement is either for Prop 27 or against Prop 27. So it's not like against Prop 26. It's either against Prop 27 or for Prop 27. And just to put these numbers a little bit into perspective, we're speaking about 500 million here, market cap of 7 billion there. When President Obama ran for the president in the United States, he has been the first president ever, and we're speaking about 52 states in the in the US, to exceed the $1 billion in costs for his campaign. So imagine President Obama running for presidency in overall United States of America, 1 billion, and just Prop 27 costs 500 million in one state. So this just gives a little bit of a perspective on how much money the Magic 7 actually, release from their pockets.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money, and the biggest campaign, the biggest campaign ever, of course. And yeah, you mentioned here that Obama spent in excess of $1 billion. Then we can fast forward a bit to 2016, and how much money did Trump and Clinton spend during the 2016 race? And actually, Hillary Clinton's unsuccessful campaign was about $750 million. That was the entire campaign of Hillary Clinton, versus Donald Trump was about $400 million. So actually, this is how insane amount of money have been pumped into this campaign. It is equal to the entire presidential run of Donald Trump in 2016, $400 million, which obviously was a very infected race. Now we're talking for the presidency of the country. And also to add to this is that it was never likely, according to the polls at least, that Prop 27 particularly would be successful. We quoted, you mentioned Bill Pasquale just now, and to quote Bill Pasquale, he said that there is a snowball chance in hell for Prop 27 to be voted through, and he publicly wanted to say to Jason Robbins, the CEO and founder of DraftKings, that like use this money elsewhere, because it is going into a black hole at the moment. But who knows? We still haven't seen the election. It's still in mid-November. I'm going over to California myself here in a couple of weeks, so I'll be at kind of ground zero. I'll be reporting from from the midst of the action here, and I'll let you know if I see any adverts over there. Interesting nonetheless, Nico. On to the next story here. Joseph Galea, the former MGA employee, so Malta Gaming Authority employee, he was ousted from the MGA due to a fraud case, and he is now being sentenced to a 2.5-year prison sentence in Germany due to tax evasion. You're German, Nico, and you know this story better than me, so can you give some more context here?
Yeah, of course. So, first of all, Joseph Galea was the director of the MGA licensed TipBet operator. So TipBet has the MGA license, and their German entity was a TipIn. And they are also licensed in Germany as well. And they unfortunately failed to pay the 5% taxes on stake. So these 5% taxes on stake have to be paid to the tax authorities in Frankfurt, and over a time span of 32 months between May 2017 and December 2019. They, first of all, TipIn didn't pay roughly 1.7 million in taxes. And now the controversy, not the controversy, but the kind of harsh thing actually starts. So he could kind of claim like, okay, of course I'm a director of this company, but the company failed to pay the taxes. But in Germany, it just ain't about the company. You are, as a director, supposed to make sure that taxes are being paid. And as soon as the tax evasion or the evading exceeds 1 million in total, you're going to go to prison. So 1 million is the magic number. As soon as you exceed it, you're being sent to prison. And that's what's literally ringing the bell for each and every other operator in Germany as well, making sure you're paid or you're paying the taxes. Within the article, there's also a statement of Jörg Hoffmann as well. And he literally states like, there you can see that taxes and paying taxes is taken very, very serious in Germany. And therefore, it's not just about the gaming industry per se. It's as soon as you don't pay your taxes in Germany, you better hurry up. And therefore, even kind of grayish or black market operations. In the end, it's black market operations. If you're operating illegally in Germany, these operators still make sure they are paying the taxes. Because either the regulatories or the authorities, gaming authorities, are behind you, trying to get you. It's all good. You can negotiate with them on a pretty dialogue based conversation. But as soon as the tax authorities are trying to get their hands on you, you'd better make sure you have you already cleaned out your closet, because they don't play around.
No, absolutely. You don't want to upset the German authorities. And, there's in the last couple of years, many executives in the gambling industry have gotten personal letters from the German authorities, basically threatening with legal action against them personally if they don't withdraw from the German market. And it's one thing to be threatened, like Kindred, for example, are threatened with fines in Norway if they don't withdraw from the market. Kindred is kind of fight that tooth and nail up to the highest court. They're not going to withdraw from the market based on these threats. However, when the CEO is being threatened with prison if you don't withdraw from the German market, then you have a very difficult decision to take as the CEO, because now it is not a company matter anymore. Now it is a personal matter, and this is the first prison sentence that we see as a result of these threats, so to say. And also, as you point out here, Nico, maybe this is also like this enforcement is now due to the fact that the GGL, the regulator, has now formed in Germany and is now actively taking action and pushing for action against the black market and gray market operators, essentially, that are not paying the VAT, they are not paying the taxes, and questionably, should they pay VAT, should they not? But the Germans are going after these operators that have operated in the country without paying any taxes or VAT. Nico, we have 5 minutes to go here. I want to just jump between the stories a bit and jump down to a bit of a controversy again with stake.com. There was an article in the Observer. Stake.com is it's not a stranger to controversy, and the other day was not an exception to that, where the Observer, and the UK newspaper, they did a little investigation against stake.com. So in the UK, stake.com is a licensed operator, right? Stake.co.uk. The difference, and you can ask, why are they licensed, is the question then. And the reason is so that they can advertise in the UK. So they obviously have the shirt sponsorship of Everton, they do other partnership deals and so on and so forth. But the speculation around stake.com is that actually this kind of white label is just a front for the actual stake.com site, where you can bet and play with cryptocurrencies. And stake.com is saying that we are doing everything we can in order to enforce strict restrictions from people in the UK playing on the offshore stake.com, say. And so the Observer, they did this little investigation where they, through a VPN, could easily access stake.com. They could easily set up an account. And during the age verification process, they were asked to upload a document showing their age, showing the legal age. And instead of uploading an ID, they uploaded a picture of a box of Strepsils throat sweets. Do you know what those are, Nico?
Nope.
No, I'm going to show them for you here. This is what a packet of Strepsils throat sweets look like. We have it here on the screen, but basically these kind of tablets. It is a box of sweets, basically. And they uploaded this as the ID verification picture. And the account was approved. It was approved. So the Observer, they were able to deposit money. They were able to transact that money into cryptocurrency. They were able to bet, and they lost this money. And they were then able to the money they had left to then transact that back to fiat and to withdraw it back into the bank account. And so this has, of course, caused some controversy. And I don't know if it's true or not. I heard through the rumor mill here, Nico, that they created a second account and they uploaded a picture of Liz Truss, and they got tagged as a VIP player due to frivolous spending. I don't know if it's true, but hey, could be the case. Nonetheless, State.com, a lot more controversy here as well. And the question is, how for how long can they operate in the shadows, so to say, in this environment? I am a bit scared that it's not sustainable. What's happening with Stake, and there's a lot of controversy, of course, with the sponsorship deals that they do. Twitch, obviously, with the famous streamer XQC, who had admitted to have had a gambling problem, and he stopped doing gambling streams on Twitch. But a couple of months later, he signed a sponsorship deal with Stake.com, continued to play, and obviously now we know that Twitch.com obviously is now restricting and banning sites like Stake.com from being able to stream gameplay from their sites, basically. But yes, more to this story to unfold, I am sure, as we go along here as well. But yes, another kind of negative story on that reflects bad on the iGaming industry at the end of the day. Yeah. Okay, last story of today, Nico, is another story that emerged from iGaming Next, which was that the CEO of Betsson AB, Pontus Lindvall, who's been a long-standing CEO and a long-standing original shareholder and founder in Betsson, it was about a year ago, he was very surprisingly ousted. He was sacked. He was fired from Betsson by the chairman of Betsson AB, Patrik Svensk. This was quite controversial because Betsson had just published the best quarterly report ever. They had set an all-time high. The company had taken a really good strategic decisions by focusing successfully on Latin America and other gray markets. Things were going really well for Betsson. Things were going really well for Pontus. And then one day he got fired. And we didn't really know why. And then obviously a month later, this caused a lot of controversy. And it turned out that Patrik Svensk had just acted based on the decision of the board. They had not consulted with the major shareholders of Betsson. When the shareholders found out about this, they protested, and they managed to get Pontus Lindvall back to the CEO position. And Patrik Svensk instead was ousted from the Betsson AB board. And not that much other information came from this, but in a fireside chat with Jesper Kärrbrink at iGaming Next, Jesper asked this question, like, can you tell us what happened, Pontus? And Pontus was very honest in the conversation, and he said that basically he had got into a meeting with Patrik Svensk, and he had told Patrik about what he was about to present. And Patrik Svensk had interrupted Pontus and said, okay, but I just want to let you know that you are fired. And Pontus said, what? And then he said it again, you've been fired. I don't know if it was that dramatic, but let's pretend that it is. And so this was a big shock for Pontus, and he couldn't understand what this is. So he asked, have you consulted with the shareholders? And Patrik Svensk said, no, we don't need to consult with the shareholders. We are a strong board. We take the decisions here. And then Pontus Lindvall, he went to the shareholders, and it should be noted here that the biggest shareholder of Betsson is Pontus Lindvall's mother. Okay, so it helps when the mother is your major shareholder. Okay, but the major shareholders, Pontus family and the original shareholders, they came together essentially then to bring Pontus back. But yeah, that's a story there as well, and obviously everyone within Betsson loves Pontus. He is an absolute staple and kind of the father of this company, and everyone looks up to him there. So the story ended well at the end of the day. But yes, some more interesting insights in how strange decisions a board of professionals can take from one moment to the other. At the end of the day, we are humans, even though we are running $1 million and $1 billion companies. At the end of the day, it's individuals who take the decisions, and those decisions are sometimes not that well thought through and not that very logical. So yeah, what do you think about that, Nico?
First of all, and sometimes probably people tend to not understand the full story, or not giving an eye on the full story. It's not like the family of Pontus Lindwall made sure that their son, uncle, or whatever is still in charge. As you
Yes.
already mentioned, they had published the best financial results ever. So there was no underlying reason, and the kind of departure of Pontus also led to rebellion from within the company. So even the workforce totally behind Pontus, as said, just as an underlying. So if the majority of shareholders got your back, you have numbers which pretty much underline that you're doing a great job. Your workforce has your back as well, and then it just comes to one guy or girl within the within the board. For whatever reason, it seems like he had a personal problem with Pontus. Unfortunately, you can't ignore the noise, because first of all, Pontus was fired, and if I'm not mistaken, besides these three reasons which are already lined out, there's also a smaller reason. It's the fourth reason, that there was an emerging hashtag, a trending hashtag, bring back Pontus. And I'm pretty sure that hashtag did the trick.
That was the nail in the coffin, essentially. And Pontus closed off by saying that you have to stand up for what you believe in, and that's what I did. He finished with, and I thought that was a good inspirational touch by Pontus here, and how to not give up when you when seemingly the world is against you, but fight for what you believe in. I like that, and all respect to Pontus Lindwall for fighting himself back to that position. Nico, it's been
Quietly.
an absolute joy. Yes.
Yeah, and quietly. He wasn't not
Quietly.
like, going to the press and, kind of laundering bad bad rumors or whatever. He still stayed focused, very quiet. And this is, I unfortunately did not have the chance to talk that much with Pontus, but based on what you already or always state about him, very humble person, straight to the point, very intelligent, and reliable as well. These are just my last 2 or 3 sentences on Pontus. Sorry for interrupting you, Pierre.
No, absolutely, and he was also inducted into the iGaming Idol Hall of Fame here last week as well, which he rightfully deserves as well. Nico, it's been an absolute joy to be back with you here today. We took a break last week. Obviously, we had a conference, but it's great to be back here with you, and it's great to be back with the audience here who are tuning in with us today. This is always a pleasure. Great to stay up to date with the industry. And as a final note here, Nico, I would like to dedicate this weekly news live stream today to this packet of Strepsils, who by all accounts looks 18-year-old plus here. So dedicated that to you, Strepsil package. You are a lifesaver whenever I have an itchy throat. Thank you for that. And to our actual sponsors, Playzone and Simpler, for keeping these shows alive. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. And Nico, I'll see you down at the beach. You know what time it is.
It's pina colada time.
It's pina colada time, my friend. Thank you so much today. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone. See you next week.
Okay, bye.